On a bright Caribbean morning, a cabin steward on a cruise ship makes a discovery that will haunt a family forever. Under a bed, wrapped in a blanket and hidden beneath life jackets, lies the body of 18-year-old Anna Kepner. What began as a celebratory family vacation has become an unfolding homicide investigation that now spans federal agencies and courtrooms.
Hey, I am Tim B., and today we are carefully unpacking the death of Anna Kepner aboard the Carnival Horizon. This episode discusses a real homicide involving a teenager, but we will stay away from graphic detail and focus on facts and timeline.
Anna was 18, a high school cheerleader from Titusville, Florida, just months away from graduation. Friends and teachers remember her as bubbly, kind, and driven, the type of student who lifted everyone else up. She dreamed of joining the military, then working with police dogs in law enforcement, a life of service and responsibility. In early November 2025, Anna boarded the Carnival Horizon in Miami with her blended family. On that trip were her father, Christopher Kepner, her stepmother, Chantel Hudson, step-siblings, her younger brother, and her grandparents, Barbara and Jeffrey. The cruise promised tropical ports, sunsets on deck, and one simple break from the stress of everyday life. But for Anna, the most important part was just being around her siblings, especially a 16-year-old stepbrother she was said to be close to. Ship security photos later would show that Anna shared a stateroom with that stepbrother and her 14-year-old brother. Cabins on cruise ships are tiny sealed worlds, metal doors, narrow corridors, and electronic key cards recording each entry. Imagine that tight space, 2 twin beds in a bunk, and the ocean just beyond the balcony rail. On the night before she was found, Anna had dinner with family and was later seen walking around the ship, appearing relaxed and happy. Her grandmother would later say Anna mentioned feeling a little unwell, but seemed fine enough to be out with everyone. At some point that night, Anna returned to the cabin she shared with the 2 boys. By the next morning, she did not show up where relatives expected her to be. On a cruise ship, it is easy to assume a teenager slept in or went to grab breakfast with friends. But as hours passed, concern turned to alarm, and staff were asked to help look for Anna. Sometime late that morning, a cabin steward entered the room that Anna shared and began to tidy up. Bending down to check under a bed, they saw something wrapped in bedding and partially covered by bright orange life jackets. Hidden there was Anna, lifeless, concealed in the last place anyone had thought to look. The ship alerted authorities, and because this was an American vessel in international waters, the Federal Bureau of Investigation took the lead. Anna's body was transported to Miami, where the county medical examiner began the painstaking work of determining what had happened. At first, the family were told that official answers might take time, and publicly there was almost total silence. Still, rumors spread online, and the lack of details only fueled speculation about drugs, partying, or an accident. Let us be clear here. Investigators have told the family there was no sign of drugs, alcohol, or sexual assault in Anna's case. In the days after her death, classmates covered her car at school with flowers and messages. A parking space turned into a memorial. Back home, grief collided with painful family history, including a strained relationship between Anna and her biological mother, Heather Wright. Heather has said she learned her daughter had died by searching online, not from a phone call from family or authorities. Meanwhile, Anna's father and stepmother were pulled into a separate but connected drama, a custody fight in Florida family court. Her stepmother, Chantel Hudson, was already in a dispute with her ex-husband over their children, one of whom had been on the cruise. Court filings in that case suddenly revealed something shocking. One of Chantel's teenage sons was described as a suspect in Anna's death. The documents referred to him only by initials TH because he is a minor. They stated that he was under investigation by the Federal Bureau of Investigation and that criminal charges might be coming. In television interviews, Anna's grandparents said authorities told them her 16-year-old stepbrother was the only person seen entering and leaving the cabin. Security footage apparently showed him going in and out of the room during the night, while Anna was never seen again alive. After the discovery of her body, family members watched as he was questioned by federal agents on the ship. Anna's grandmother described him as distraught and almost unable to speak during that interview. When the ship returned to Miami, he was reportedly taken for psychiatric evaluation and later released to another relative. Weeks later, more pieces of the puzzle emerged when the family received information about Anna's cause of death. According to what they were told, Anna died from mechanical asphyxia, meaning her airflow was cut off by another person. Sources have said investigators believe she may have been held in a bar hold, an arm across the neck that can stop breathing. This is often discussed in the context of rough physical restraint or fighting, but we still do not know the exact circumstances here.
What we do know is that the death has been classified as a homicide, not an accident, and not self-harm.
At the same time, the Federal Bureau of Investigation has not officially named any suspect or filed criminal charges. That gap between what the family has been told and what has been made public has created huge tension and confusion. Some of Anna's relatives focus on remembering her smile, her cheer uniforms, and her plans to serve in the military. Others have become locked in painful disputes, arguing over memorials, money, and who truly cared for Anna while she was alive. In one interview, her father, Christopher, angrily rejected claims from Heather that she was pushed away, saying she had been absent for years. Heather, for her part, insists she loved her daughter deeply and is now grieving largely from the outside of the family circle. As viewers, it is easy to get caught up in the family drama, but at the center of all of this is Anna herself, an 18-year-old who loved the ocean, who gave small gifts to friends, and who never came home from a vacation. So where does the investigation stand right now? And why might authorities be moving so slowly on a case ruled a homicide? Cruise ships are essentially floating cities, with complex jurisdiction rules and a moving crime scene surrounded by open water. Evidence can be lost quickly, from linens being laundered to cabins being reassigned once a voyage ends. In Anna's case, some of the most important evidence is digital, keycard logs, and surveillance video from the decks and corridors. Because a juvenile is reportedly under investigation, the law also gives investigators extra reason to keep quiet while they work. Anna's stepmother has now asked a judge to seal parts of the custody case and limit what can be shared, citing the active federal investigation. Her lawyers argue that public discussion of the teen suspect could damage his right to a fair trial if he is ever charged. Her ex-husband, meanwhile, has filed motions laying out his fears that his son could face serious criminal consequences. So you have an alleged homicide on the high seas, and a deeply divided family fighting in court, while everyone waits for answers.
It is important to remember that the stepbrother has not been charged with any crime, and under the law he is presumed innocent.
We do not know what he has told investigators, and we do not know whether prosecutors will ever bring a case. There are many possibilities, from deliberate violence to a struggle that went horribly wrong, to scenarios we cannot yet see. Until more facts are confirmed, speculation can easily cross the line into harming real people who are already in pain. What this case does highlight is how vulnerable people can be in contained spaces like cabins, dorm rooms, and hotel suites. When something goes wrong behind a closed door, the only witnesses might be the people in that room and whatever the cameras can capture. For Anna's loved ones, justice looks like clear answers, accountability, and the assurance that this will not quietly disappear. For investigators, it means building a case strong enough to survive in court, or being honest if they cannot. As of now, Anna's death is officially a homicide, but the story of who is responsible is still unwritten. If there is one thing we can take from her life, it is the impact a single, caring person can have on a community. Her classmates, teachers, and family members are keeping her memory alive through vigils, tributes, and sharing stories of her kindness. If you are watching this and you ever feel unsafe, unheard, or trapped in a complex family situation, please reach out to someone you trust. Cases like Anna's remind us how important it is to look out for one another long before tragedy strikes. Thank you for spending this time remembering Anna Kepner with me, and for approaching this story with empathy. If you found this breakdown helpful, feel free to like, subscribe, and share, and let us know your thoughts respectfully in the comments. Most of all, keep Anna and her family in your thoughts as they wait for the full truth to surface.
Thank you for spending this time remembering Anna with me. If this video helped you understand her story, please consider supporting the channel. Like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you do not miss future deep dives. Share this case with someone who cares about real justice, not just headlines. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments, but please keep them kind and respectful. Remember, behind every case is a real person and a family still living with the fallout. Take care of yourselves, look out for each other, and I will see you in the next one.